Well, I hope it could be a great thing. It's at least the end of a disaster.
I took my money out almost a decade ago, like many other people did. I haven't invested in Canada ever since Trudeau got in, but I see great opportunity now because the Canadian dollar is now the Trudeau peso. It has completely collapsed.
I'm so glad he's gone. He was a curse. My country is in worse shape by far than I've ever seen it in my entire life. I watched his resignation speech. You know, I've never heard Justin Trudeau say a true word in his entire life.
Maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. So we'd like you to look
we like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind, because it's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly. Yes, thank you.
We can all learn from each other.
He will go down in history as the idiot king.
Canada was at parity for per capita GDP with the US 9 years ago when Trudeau took the helm, and now Canadians are at 60%, and our real estate is twice as expensive as it is in the US. He's been a catastrophe, and so at least the catastrophe will be gone, and then there's reason for hope with regard to a new administration, which would likely be headed by Pierre Poilievre, who's the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada.
We are more indebted as households than the Americans were right before the 2008 financial crisis.
As you all know, I am a fighter, and I am not someone who backs away from a fight, particularly when a fight is as important as this one is.
Canadians are in the British parliamentary system, so we have a very short fuse here. The Liberals, of which Trudeau was the leader, had a majority mandate a decade ago. They're about to get wiped out, and they're going to have 60 days to find a new leader. Unfortunately for Trudeau, you have to respect the longevity. He's probably, after Mackenzie King, the longest prime minister in history. But he did it without any executional skills. That's very hard to do, but somehow he did it. But everything he touched over that 10-year period turned to, excuse my French, poo-poo.
Kevin O'Leary and Jordan Peterson have both been vocal critics of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, often supporting their critiques with data and statistics. Kevin O'Leary, known for his role on Shark Tank and his business acumen, has frequently pointed out what he perceives as Trudeau's economic mismanagement, highlighting issues like rising national debt, increased government spending, and the impact of policies on business growth. He often uses numbers to underline his arguments, such as citing the growth rate of national debt or the decline in investment in Canada during Trudeau's tenure. Similarly, Jordan Peterson, a clinical psychologist and public intellectual, critiques Trudeau from a philosophical and economic standpoint. Peterson often discusses the implications of Trudeau's policies on freedom of speech and economic freedom, backing his claims with statistics on government expenditure, freedom indices, and public sector performance. Both leverage their platforms to argue that Trudeau's policies have not only economic, but also broader societal implications, using empirical data to fuel their criticisms.
His administration's freezing not only of the truckers' bank accounts, but of people who dared to support the truckers on various social media platforms. Right? No, it was the. I don't think Canadians still understand how devastating that was to our international reputation. I've never heard Justin Trudeau utter a word that was true. He's false in every aspect of his performance and thought.
Canadian people finally realize this guy has no idea what he's doing, and unfortunately his legacy, and these are harsh words, but by the metric of measuring GDP per capita, capital outflow, debt per capita, status of competition in the G20, they have all collapsed. And the one that really wrote him off was the Canadian dollar. Canadians have lost 41% of their net worth during his tenure.
I know that Poilievre regards the United States as an ally of paramount value, militarily and economically, that his hope is that Canada and the US can have the best relationship internationally under his leadership that the two countries have ever had, which is obviously the appropriate thing to do, both for the US and for Canada. Canada is the US's major trading partner, and the reverse is clearly true. Canada has a virtually unlimited supply of energy and resources. There's absolutely no reason that the new mega hope that America can boom can't be boom time for Canada and the US jointly, and that's exactly what should happen.
He's very unpopular. Canadian people don't want him representing them. And so I would ask President-elect Trump, why don't you wait on all of these ideas until the Canadians have had a chance to elect their new leadership, so that you're dealing with somebody, a leader, that has the same mandate you do, 4 years, because you can't get this stuff done overnight. And the minute election is called in Canada, there's a chance, the polls are brutal. This is a parliamentary system in Canada. This Liberal Party is going to get wiped off the face. They won't even be the official opposition. So why waste your time talking to them? No. The metrics of the country that affect every individual Canadian regarding their politics are things like GDP per capita, debt per capita, foreign outflows of capital per capita, the Canadian dollar versus other international currencies. During the Trudeau mandate, he has lost 41% of the value of the country. People are tired of him by every measure. That was just one drop in the bucket.
There's a lot of possibility on the table, and Trump has a remarkable team of people around him, and they're going to be trying very hard to get their act together and to at least get the hell out of the way and hopefully facilitate movement forward and free the natural entrepreneurial spirit of the United States, which is deep and genuine.
It's gone beyond pissed off. They just want an election, and they will wipe him right off the face of the political landscape in Canada. So I appeal again to President-elect Trump, don't waste your time.
How will Justin Trudeau's resignation affect Canadians and negotiations concerning Trump's tariffs? Thank you for joining us today, and we encourage you to share your thoughts and stay informed on this pivotal moment in Canada-US relations.